On November 13, 2008, a devastating fire ripped through Montecito, California.
Montecito fire. Yes, there's a fire up on Montecito Peak right behind us. Okay, what's your actual address? It's right up by that tea house thing.
Fueled by explosive tinder in the heavily wooded foothills, the fire set off gigantic walls of flames. The path of destruction left 219 homes of celebrities and pensioners alike in ashes. The fire danger in Southern California was grave. Sundowner winds were clocking at hurricane strength, over 90 miles per hour. The next night, 100 miles away in Selmar, California, the lethal combination of intense northeasterly wind and dry conditions sparked another out-of-control wildfire. The fire raged through the idyllic Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park nestled comfortably in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains. At 4 a.m., the mostly elderly population only had minutes to escape the wrath of the raging inferno.
Oh my God, that's our house, that's our house. I know our house is gone. I knew it, and that's when I knew our house burned. I knew it was to the ground. I knew there was nothing.
Despite the heroic efforts of the firefighters, nearly 500 of the 600 manufactured homes were destroyed.
It really looks like a bomb hit. That's all I kept hearing. Looks like a bomb hit, and it looks like something just swept right across and took everything.
You can't put it in words, really.
90 years of Grandpa's stuff is gone, basically. So it's sad.
Unbelievably, on the third day, a new fire raged in the hills of Orange County and merged into the Freeway Complex fire near Santa Ana Canyon.
You know, it looked like almost nighttime. It was all dusty and smoky. Embers were blowing through the air.
I couldn't see a foot in front of me. It was that bad. It was just, in seconds, it was horrible.
The fire proved to be fickle, igniting one home, only to skip the one next door. 313 homes and part of an apartment complex were destroyed. The fierce Santa Ana winds continued to wreak havoc on firefighters, who were left wondering what ash field would spark the next fire and where. Southern California local emergency officials, the California Emergency Management Agency, and FEMA were conducting an emergency simulation exercise throughout the area when the wildfires began. Many of those personnel quickly redirected their activities to cope with the real emergency that ensued over the following days. FEMA issued fire management assistance grants for each of the 3 fires even before the firefighters brought the flames under control. The grants will reimburse 75% of firefighting costs. The scope of battling the 3 fires was enormous. 5,000 firefighters fought the blazes. Governor Schwarzenegger quickly proclaimed states of emergency for the counties affected by the fires and requested the assistance of the federal government. On November 18th, within 24 hours of the governor's request, President Bush declared the wildfires a federal disaster.
We want to thank also the federal government because the federal government has come in working with the state and with the locals. There's been also great coordination there.
Immediately, a joint state and federal disaster team led by Federal Coordinating Officer Mark Neveau and Deputy State Coordinating Officer Tom Mariyama assembled.
We came together very quickly with our state partners and the local officials to come to the aid of the fire victims.
One day after the declaration, the local assistance center in Orange County was staffed by FEMA, CalEMA, and other state and local agencies. Staffing at the Santa Barbara and Los Angeles locations quickly followed.
The local assistance centers were opened almost immediately after the request was put out by the city and the county.
FEMA's community relations cadre walked the burned-out neighborhoods, providing much-needed information to fire victims. Quickly, the major focus for community relations became the outreach to the residents from the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park. The circumstances of the fire required patience and determination from the community relations specialists assigned to the area. One of them, Michael Palmer, enthusiastically accepted the task.
How to register with FEMA, it's very easy. It's called this 800 number. What's unique about this disaster is that most of the residents at Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park were senior citizens, and we just want to let them know that FEMA is here to help them in any way that we can.
By early December, it was apparent to Mark Neveau and Tom Mariyama the fate of the residents of Oak Ridge couldn't be solved in any business-as-usual manner. Even though 100 homes were spared in the fire, those families could not return until the debris throughout the park was removed.
We had some 600 plus residents that had been affected by this devastating fire, and a number of them who could get back into their modular structures but couldn't because of the debris.
Just one huge, perhaps insurmountable problem stood in the way. Who would remove the debris? The park owner's insurance wouldn't pay for it. The burned-out mobile home owner's insurance covers very little, if any, debris removal. Volunteer offers to do it failed in the face of access rights and disposal requirements. The State Department of Housing and Community Development, which regulates mobile home parks, wouldn't do it. FEMA regulations disallow, barring the rare exception, reimbursement for private property debris removal.
We wanted to help the folks, so we had to get creative to find a way to make this work, and that's what we did.
Dr. Fielding from the County of Los Angeles, the public health officer, felt that the ash and household hazardous waste created a public health nuisance, which then gave us the ability to look at some of the regulations to provide assistance through an eligible applicant to do debris removal on private property.
It took considerable effort on everybody's part, both local, state, and federal, to be able to get this accomplished. We set out an agenda, we were creative, and it worked. Working together, we were able to accomplish much more than we could have if we worked individually. And the benefactor of that will be the residents of the mobile home park.
On March 12th, a media conference at Oak Ridge informed residents and the public that the debris removal had been funded and work had already begun.
As I look over my shoulder today, I see the heavy equipment back there starting the work. The debris cleanup has started. That's the first step in getting these people back in their homes.
All I can say now is that yes, we will, in terms of this thing being rebuilt. This is going to come back to where it was.
When we sat around the table in the mayor's office a few weeks ago, it wasn't pretty, but we were all result-oriented. We were all result-oriented. We wanted to get this thing moving. And I've worked with a lot of FEMA people, and I want to echo what the mayor said. Our experience with FEMA on this case, once we got together, has been nothing but superb. And we thank you, and you know, I guess we could call it Neveau FEMA.
Residents were relieved to hear the news of this most important step forward.
Oh, I see those trucks going out with all the debris. It feels wonderful. I just know soon my other friends that homes are still standing will be returning, and then they'll start building our home. And I'm grateful for that. I'm just anxious to get into my own home again.
And FEMA really worked hard. Mark Neveau did a great job of trying to figure it out, working with Cali MA, working with the city of Los Angeles, and we can truthfully say, without any exaggeration, that everything that we'll be able to do here, we'll be able to do because of that partnership.
On another fire recovery front, Santa Barbara Individual Assistance Manager B. Riddle was reaching out to 2 fire victims who narrowly escaped with their lives. Lance and Carla Hoffman got caught by the flames and found themselves trapped by the inferno. They had no choice but to run through the fire to safety. Both were badly burned and hospitalized for many weeks.
Carla was fully unconscious for, I believe, 2 weeks, and was further out of it for another week. I was unconscious for the first month while they were doing surgeries.
We knew the couple had been hospitalized. We found Carla's mother, who got them registered. FEMA was able to give them assistance for their hospital cost and medical cost, and today they're both out of the hospital and doing better.
In early February, State Senator Lou Correa invited the State Federal Disaster Team to testify at a hearing considering improvements in mobile home park fire safety standards.
By having a plan, a written plan, by the park management and or owner exercising those plans, we could see, hopefully in the future, more successes and more saves like we did in the Oak Ridge Mobile Home Park.
In Los Angeles County, the Olive View UCLA Medical Center lost 100 buildings.
Every building on this campus was either destroyed or damaged, except for the hospital itself. It needs to be rebuilt. We're here with FEMA today to identify the costs and the replacement costs of the campus.
One of the buildings destroyed at the Olive View campus was a daycare center. Curiously, several cribs survived the fire.
Seeing the impact of the daycare center destroyed by the fire and that the cribs had not burned put a face and lives to what had happened there. And public assistance will be able to provide 75% of the funding to the county to rebuild over 100 structures that were destroyed by the fire.
By March of 2009, FEMA had registered more than 2,500 applicants and committed $63 million for both public and individual assistance. The state of California will contribute more than $15 million in assistance funding. But perhaps the greatest accomplishment of the disaster recovery was the extraordinary efforts that led to the debris removal process at Oak Ridge.
And the success is what's happening today, and debris removal is being removed, and folks are getting ready to reoccupy that park.
Well, I think what we've all learned is that by reaching out, by partnering with local, state, federal, private entities, nonprofits, that the community, the disaster victims, benefit. Without that partnership, we would not have been as successful as we are in this disaster and with what we're leaving these folks. There's a ray of hope. There's potential, their lives are coming back together.